Forrest, I did it last time, so I think it's your turn.
Okay, well, I'll try to keep up with you here. I'm usually about 5 steps behind, but that's all right. Keep me on track.
Right.
All right, so we are live on YouTube. And I will get the remote meeting script up for you, Forrest.
Okay.
All right. This is what you have to read to kick the meeting off.
Okay. Okay, as acting chair, I'll identify myself. I'm Forrest Lyford. I live in Northborough. First bullet, this open meeting of Northborough Trails is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Northborough Trails Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Having trouble.
A little
seeing
slow.
this. Okay, the order allows Northborough Trails Committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Okay. Okay, do I continue with the reading here? I guess.
Yes.
The chair confirms that the board members and persons anticipated on the agenda are remotely present and can be heard by stating the following. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. State each person's name. Say each attending member's name and wait for a verbal reply. Okay, I'll start at the top of the list. Brian.
Present.
Okay. Cheryl.
Present.
Okay. Jeff.
Hello, present.
Okay, that's all I can see. Wait a minute. Here's more. Bill.
Present.
Craig. Are you present?
I'm present, though not a member.
Okay. Mia.
Present.
HLUMS. iPad. I don't know who that is.
Hi, that's Holly Lum, not a member.
Oh, okay. Is that the extent of it? Are there any people I haven't acknowledged? Okay. Okay. Okay, it looks like we go directly to the agenda now, Mia.
Okay.
Okay. Could you post that again? I failed to print it out. Okay. Okay, let's start with trail topics, damage reports, maintenance, new trails, new trail proposals. Number 1, trail reports, any maintenance requirements? Anybody have any comments on that?
Not about maintenance requirement, but I was at Edmund Hill today and I was just wondering if someone on the Trails Committee cut down 4 little trees over by where all that French, what is it, French ivy is?
So down low by the wetland,
Yeah,
along the property line or along the trail?
it's along the trail.
Okay, is that, what trail is that down there?
It starts out as Big Pine, but I think it's called something else. And then sorry, I should have looked at the map.
Small
First.
white pines. Oh, did anyone cut them first?
No.
No, that's our vandal.
There's
Was it
4.
cut like a foot off the ground?
Yeah,
Oh, come on.
there are 4 of them.
Did you get any pictures?
I did. I don't know if I'd be able to.
For clarification, Cheryl, for my clarification, that's the tall pine trail you're talking about?
Forrest, it's over where you're going to be talking about invasives.
Oh, okay,
It's right
Yeah.
there.
okay.
I'll go take a look and, we could post a no cutting sign. I would suggest we increase our visits there with where you're identified. By the way, I'm at about 75%. Sometimes I get stuck on words. I'm a little foggy.
Mm.
So if you put like a vest, put your vest on and go for a walk. I'm trying to get the trail cameras up and running. So maybe I can get a trail camera out there as well.
Hmm.
Okay, that'd be great. I don't know if you want to see the pictures. I have just a few of them.
I do.
They're just
Let me
little
see.
pictures.
I can make you a co-host and you can share your screen,
Great.
and I will stop sharing my screen. Okay.
All right, can you see the picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so this is one of them. They didn't do a very good job with this one.
Hmm.
And then you can see right in front here, there's one. You can't see the other 2 behind. Well, you can kind of see. Here's the second one. So these are the 2. So it's like this one in front and those 2, and then that one that didn't get cut very, very well.
Did they leave the trees or are they gone?
This one of these has a tree that's still there. We couldn't find the tree for these 2, so I don't know, and we didn't look for the 4th one. So a little of both, I would say. But that looks like our vandals cutting, right?
Yeah. Do you know, have you walked this recently before this?
Yes. Well,
Hmm.
actually, Forrest, we were out there last week.
Okay, so it's within a
Uh,
week.
yeah.
So it's not a Christmas tree.
No.
It wouldn't be a very good
No.
Christmas tree.
No, they're actually not pines either. I don't think. Well, I don't know. I mean, the one, yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about trees. We'll let it go at that. Okay, so I was just checking because, you know.
What do you think
strikes
about
again.
posting Cheryl's pictures on the Trail Travelers Facebook page? And again, did I tell you guys the reward was debunked, that we have no means? The town accountant and the town administrator the Trails Committee had voted, not Trails Committee, Conservation Commission had voted to make a reward for $500 for information leading to the prosecution of the vandals. But the town accountant and town administrator have said there's no means by which we could pay this.
Hmm.
Like there's no method or any, there's no way to do this to issue a
Mhm.
reward. So that got debunked. But you can post it on social media if you'd like and just say, this has been observed again. Let's not do the same thing to Edmund Hill. What's happening to Pisgah. and post the phone number for the office. If anyone notices anything, call the police or the conservation office, because this is destruction of town property.
Yeah.
And
Mia, did they say that there was just no funding available, or we couldn't do the reward at all? Like if I
There was-
decided I wanted to throw $100 towards the cause, like, are we allowed to still do
I was just
that?
thinking that. I was just
you could do
wondering.
it privately.
Yeah.
Like Brian Belfer could offer a reward. But me as the town, like I have to fill out a form, and then the bill warrant has to be approved by my supervisor, who's a town accountant. There's no expenditure category for rewards.
Right. All right.
Okay, do we continue with the agenda at this point?
Do we have
I
any
got a quick
other?
update.
Sure.
This is going back to the end of November. We talked about that bridge over at Watson Park. Just to close a loop on that, that bridge has been updated. I put a new one in there. That little 10 footers done. And thanks to me, it gave me some Northborough bags. I took 2 bags of trash out of the Watson Park trailhead, so that's clean. So there's a few updates. This is all stuff from like November, because we really didn't meet in December. So just catching up now.
Hmm.
That's great, Bill. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bill. I guess.
Hey, Brian, is it worth printing up that the scouts for I don't know if you've talked about it before, about the Eagle Scout project?
We haven't. I mean, I'll bring it up so that it's just in the notes. So we are working with scouts to do bridge replacement work on the Stirrup Brook Trail. We got approval, I think, from Conservation Commission to replace all of them. We walked the trail, well, it's quite a few months ago at this point.
Remember?
Yeah. We've identified a bunch of bridges that need replacement. We have some preliminary concepts, and then come springtime, Jeff, at some point, let me know which scouts are actually in need of the Eagle Scout projects. Because
Yeah.
I neglected to note that. Bob might have it, but I don't actually have
Okay.
it.
Yeah, and a quick update. The boys were telling me, they were going to each do one, but now they said they each want to do 2. So the taller one,
Mhm.
one of them wants to take that on, which is a good thing. So we'll talk to you obviously with what the design should look like and stuff. But so they're willing to do 4, so that's good.
Okay.
Gotcha. So I'm sorry. So you have two scouts,
2
two
scouts
bridges each.
doing 2.
Okay.
And there's other Eagles coming up. There's actually a big group of Life Scouts right now looking for projects. So if there's other things, I can't remember what you said for Stirrup. If there's other bridges or other places we could ask them.
Yeah, I'm have to. So on my 2021 list is a full bridge inventory. Basically, figure out all the bridges on all the trails, identify the ones that are most critical for replacement. So that is on sort of my list of things to not necessarily personally do, but to get inventoried. And then once we know, beyond the ones that we've already identified at Stirrup Brook, once we know where we need to focus, we can figure out where else it would be like a Eagle Scout caliber bridge
Right.
build. Because very few of them are none of them are like as big as what we did up at Pisgah, and
Right.
very few of them would even be as big as the raised bridge on the Stirrup Brook Trail. Most of them are
Yeah.
just much smaller scope.
And the troop leaders were less concerned about the size of the bridge as much as the leadership effort around the bridge. So just so you know, that's a good thing, because it may not be a huge bridge, but as long as they have to coordinate everything and get volunteers and stuff, they were pretty comfortable with it as a project. They'd have to get approved and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's good.
And you normally have scouts who just need other volunteer hours to fulfill, correct?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we always need that.
Because so to add to the notes too, so I did a bunch of water abatement digging at the Route 20 parking lot for the Stirrup Brook Trail.
Yeah, nice job, Brian.
Yeah, I feel bad. It would have helped.
it was fun. So, but looking at what needs to be done there, it's probably not that project alone is probably not a Eagle project. What that is like a handful of people and a few hours, and that's really all that's going to take. So I would love to, I'll rope in whoever wants to, just move crap around. But if we have the scouts who need to earn the hours, that'd be awesome too, because all that stuff hurts my back a lot.
Right. I can ask them because they do. They have a certain amount they need to do each year. So
yeah, and then
like when we did the trail up near Pisgah, like we had a few boys, they kind of just were lingering because they needed more hours. So
yeah,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, we have more projects lined up, but ideally, doing the work at the Route 20 lot will hit basically as soon as it's not frozen, but before everything starts to grow back. So, we might not, I'll kind of try to outline what we need to do. And then I think it'll just be weather dependent. We'll want to jump on it really as soon as the conditions are, give us a window.
Right.
And then I did put a posting up on the Facebook group about the new Sliding Boulders Trail up at Edmund Hill, which for those of you who weren't aware, we flagged out a nice switchback climbing trail to basically bypass or be an alternative to the summit trail that's at Edmund Hill. And I'm going to work on the layout and the raking in and rounding up people to help do that. And Cheryl and Forrest are heading up the interpretive trail aspect of that. Did we?
Yeah.
I can't remember if we talked about that at the last meeting or not.
With the interpretive trail?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we could follow up here. It might be appropriate at this point if Cheryl and her son Spencer and I have been working. I don't know. Do you want to give an update on where we stand on that, Cheryl? On the interpretive trail?
Sure. So the three of us have been out twice to Edmund Hill and have gone to different, Forrest has picked out different features along the trail that he thinks are interesting to highlight. And they are. And so what we've been doing is stopping at each of those sites, and Spencer does he videotapes Forrest talking about what we're looking at. And I'm also taking some pictures so that we can supplement the video with photographs, and Forrest has dug up a couple historical photos that we can also add into the whole thing. And I think what we're probably going to want to do is a combination of things. So we'll have at each of these spots some kind of a number or something, and also a QR code so that somebody can go to that site, scan the QR code, and go right to the website or to YouTube. We should probably put video on YouTube. We can talk about that too, to hear what it is that they're looking at. And we should also have it, I can also transcribe it so that if people would prefer to just read what it is that they're looking at rather than listening to the recording. And then I think also it'd be nice to have it as one full video, the whole tour, in case anybody wants to see it before they actually go to Edmund Hill. They can watch all of it. And so there are different options. Those are the things that I was thinking about as far as options for how to make the interpretive trail accessible to people. So I don't know if folks have input, comments, suggestions.
Yeah, I have to say it's been kind of fun and enlightening for me. I've had to rethink a few things as we visit these various stations.
It's been really fun. Boris is a really good storyteller. He has a lot to say.
I've never considered myself a storyteller, but anyway.
You have a lot to say.
Yeah. One follow-up item, we're going to have to put some kind of a number, station number next to each one of these stations. And last time we talked a little bit about doing what I did before. We had a 4x4 post with a bevel and a routed number. One suggestion was to make it a little larger, a little higher off the ground so it's easier to see. I don't know, is that any thoughts along that line? I mean, that's something I can be working on this winter if we can get some 4x4 posts, which I guess is another question. Is that, maybe Cheryl has some ideas on how you put QR codes and so forth, other information on these things.
Yeah, I don't really have the solution to that, but we can look it up. It's like, I mean, it'll just have to be weatherproofed, the QR code aspect of it. But I think we should also have numbers so that people who aren't using a smartphone or don't have the QR scanner or whatever know where they are and what they're looking at. So we'll have to have some kind of post that I think should have both the number and the QR code. So
Maybe the first step is to create a prototype or a model of some kind that we can improve on.
yeah,
I'll work on that in the short term.
great.
And we have the money to buy the lumber if you just want to vote to spend it.
Oh, okay.
If that's
Yeah.
how,
Yeah, we're talking about lots of posts at this point, and quite a few stations. I don't know, have you numbered them, Cheryl? There are quite a
Not
few.
yet.
I'm
No,
guessing.
and we haven't finished yet, right? We have one more time.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
one more time to get all the stops in, and then we might do some reshooting of, it was
Yeah.
our first draft,
Yeah, for sure.
so to speak.
so there's two
Yeah.
ways you can, oh, go ahead, Brian.
I was going to ask, as you're talking about, you said we have the money for the wood. Do we have that actual number somewhere? Because as I'm looking at all these spring projects, I want to start budgeting a little bit.
We do. I'm not in the office, so I don't have it handy.
Okay.
But I want to say you have like $5,000 or $10,000.
Well, that's a pretty big spread.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
I mean,
I'll get you
go
the
ahead.
number.
Okay, or I can ask Kathy, whatever. I'm not sure who to ask, I guess.
No, I'm the correct person. I just have to go look in the file.
Okay.
So Kathy's got a file. The town accountant gives her a monthly account balance. So I just have to
Oh.
go walk over to Kathy, get the number, and I'll email it to you guys.
That'd be perfect. Yeah, that way, yeah, because I know we certainly have enough money for some minor stuff, but like I said, as we start into all these bridge projects, which we usually fund completely, so the scouts do the labor and we do the money on it. I don't think we've done any real thing with the budgeting since we had the kiosks built. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it all together. I'll email it to you. And then as far as spending the money, if we just get a number of the posts, and then if you send me what you're looking for, like an item number at Home Depot, or wherever you buy your lumber, then we can just get a cost estimate, add a little bit more, and then the committee just votes to spend up to that dollar amount on it. And then you can I can order them and you never have to spend any money, or you can buy them and we can reimburse you. But the reimbursements do take a few weeks.
Alrighty, so we'll figure out the total number, and then Forrest, I don't know if you want to price out the actual posts themselves, because I don't know what you'd be looking for.
I'll do that. I'm looking for projects, so the timing is good here.
Oh, good. Got some around the house that you can come.
So
Well,
February,
within reason.
we'll get a number together and then you guys can vote on it in February.
Perfect.
And we'll have the account balances too, so that'll help us put that in perspective.
Great. Thanks.
So is there anything else relating to trail maintenance, construction, so forth? We'll move on to the next item. Can't see it up there. Equipment updates, any problems with tools or anything? No comment.
I don't think we have anything to report on that.
Yeah.
I haven't been using any of the committee-owned power tools. Bob would probably be able to report, but it's middle of winter, so we'll just say
Yeah,
No change since last time.
okay.
I was over at the shed a couple days ago. Everything's still there, if that matters.
Oh, thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, I looked in there a month or two ago, just out of curiosity. It's the first time in a couple of years, I guess, I've poked my head in the shed. Okay, let's see, new projects. Any new projects? I don't know, are we, Mia, is there any update on the accessible trail? That's not really our project, but we're
It's moving along.
standing by as needed.
Yeah, so you guys at your November meeting, you had asked me to bring 3 things to the commission, the Conservation Commission, for permission. It was the accessible trail. At that point, you were looking for permission to start raking it in. The Edmund Hill reroute with the switchbacks, and then the update of the interpretive trail. They voted to approve all 3. The accessible trail has progressed. I think at your meeting, I reported last time that we were applying for the shared winter streets. So for those of you who don't know, Forrest brought to the Trails Committee an idea of an ADA accessible, American with Disabilities Act wheelchair accessible trail around the senior center. I approached the DPW director and asked him if he knew of any funding opportunities or if he would mind walking it with me to get his input, because he's constructed ADA trails, like the town common is ADA accessible. So in the meantime, Liz Trediak, she's the director of the senior center. She also reached out to the DPW director and said the same thing. She wanted an accessible trail at the senior center, and she brought a grant funding opportunity, which is the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Shared Winter Streets Program. And so this was a great candidate. So we formed a staff team of Liz, the senior center director, Scott, the DPW director, Allie Lane, she's the recreation director, because some of it's on recreation. The senior center is made up of senior center land, recreation land, and conservation land. When the property was purchased from the Northborough Fish and Game, it's broken up into 3 controlled areas. So we got permission from all 3, and we're moving forward. We submitted the application. A landscape architect has sketched up a draft. We did a public feedback session that was part of the requirement for the grant application, where we stood outside, Forrest attended, where we stood outside the senior center during a food pickup event and tried to reach out to seniors. The target audience was seniors. And we did some outreach at some other senior events as well. Got great feedback. Just everyone seems happy about it. And we've applied for it. It's $225,000 and the grant is 100%. It is a very fast project. They will let us know by the end of January. They're supposed to let us know around January 25th if we've got it. And then it's supposed to be fully constructed by May. The only downfall I saw from when I was doing the minutes is that it will be paved, because of maintenance issues. The DPW is going to have to maintain it because they have to plow it. It has to be kept plowed. And just the natural base, it's just not possible to plow it and keep it. When you have an ADA, it has to be maintained, and that's just too much work for the DPW. So, I mean, if they're one of our project partners, but we did narrow the width. Now, most of it's going to be 3 feet wide, and then every 500 feet or so, we're required to have an 8-foot wide turnaround. And the 3-foot wide restricted is really in that lane between the pond and the railroad tracks. There's a stream along the railroad tracks, so there's wetlands kind of pinching it in, but it's going to branch out to 5 to 8 feet in other areas with some rest areas and turnarounds. It went through conservation. It had to have a notice of intent, the large wetland permit, because of the site work near wetlands. The Conservation Commission issued the permit, and the only real restriction was no use of de-icing chemicals or sand, that had to be hand shoveled or plowed.
I'm sorry, Mary, could you repeat that last part for me?
The
For my
Conservation
benefit?
Commission,
Oh,
sure,
okay.
they passed it. They gave the permit. I'm about to issue it now. And the only conditions, like super special condition they put on the permit, is that we can't use de-icing chemicals or sand near within 100 feet of the wetlands.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's exciting. for me
It is
anyway.
exciting.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah, thanks for moving forward with that, Mia.
Yeah, obviously you put some time into it, Mia.
Yeah, things move fast when the DPW director gets involved. So
Yeah.
he's a project manager by trade, so
Yeah.
he works quickly.
Yeah. Okay, anything else under new projects? Training?
Yeah.
Uh,
Bill, did you want to talk about, you and I talked offline a little bit about trail stewardship or trail inventorying. You want to talk
Oh,
about
yeah,
that?
good idea. Now, I'm not sure if this exists already, but, and I wish Bob might have known if this existed. Putting together a master list of trails, who their ownerships are, and actually who is the maintainer. Because, for me, it would help, and also it helps some other maybe newer volunteers that would be interested to keep straight some of the crisscrossing of trails on the different multi-use properties and multi-ownership properties of which trails are maintainable and which ones are not by us. If that doesn't exist, I wouldn't mind putting that list together, and we could approve it as a resource that we could use in our team, and also make it available for anybody that wanted to help out as a volunteer, as a newbie, and say, okay, here's your list. Right now, I'm not sure if that exists. Does anybody know if something like that exists that could either be used or built on?
Nothing is written down. Do you know of anything, Brian?
Nope, never
No,
seen
I've
anything
never
like
seen
it.
I've never seen a written list.
Yeah, I mean, like a good example is, if you're going through like Cedar Hill, you got the SVT trails, which we probably don't do a lot of maintenance on unless somebody asks us. And you got the NTC stuff. And then there's stuff on the other side of the street where it's a wildlife management area where you really aren't touching that. So it's a little confused. It'd be nice to have something very definitive, like, okay, this trail system made up of these 4 trails, here's who maintains them. And, there you go. That way, if you do see something, you can look and feel confident that you can or you can't touch it, So I'd be happy to at least start that list and run it by you guys, and finally get something approved that we can use as a resource. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I can start that.
I think
Great
it's,
idea.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it's great, for sure. Yeah, kind of along that line, maybe this is what you have in mind, Bill. Several years ago, we talked about having people volunteer as stewards for various trails. And I guess that more or less happened, but there was no accountability. We almost need some way of reporting, maybe either monthly or maybe quarterly would be adequate. I don't know. But I don't know. Any thoughts along that line?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
it was
did
like
that
a
for a
trail
while.
report, but I guess you got to kind of try to balance it. I've seen in the past where if you put too much overhead on volunteer stuff, then people tend to not want to do it because it's too much paperwork. But
Yeah.
you also want to kind of know what's going on. I do know what you mean, though. We may have a primary trail owner, maybe they're like the contact, but it doesn't preclude anybody else from helping out either. Now, Brian, you said that was kind of happening in the past a little bit too.
It predated me, but someone who's been here longer could talk about it.
Yeah, we used to have like each trail, somebody from the trails committee would be assigned to each trail, or each trail would have one of us assigned to it. And the responsibility was monthly to go along the trail, make sure there was no maintenance that was needed, clean up the trash, just basically be the steward of the trail. And I think it just kind of, people sort of stopped doing it. Like over time, it just sort of dissipated to the point where I think at one point, I think Bob was chair at that point. He was just like, well, we're all out there on other trails because there wasn't reliability. So when Forrest says there might be some accountability that's needed for that, I think if we do want to do that kind of approach, which I thought was actually a pretty cool approach, that we should have that as being formal reports at the meetings. But if you can't get there that month, and that was part of the problem, I mean, sometimes I'd be like, I got nothing to say because I couldn't get there this month.
Hmm.
So I don't know, but I like the idea overall.
It's definitely a really good idea. I can see that we ran into an issue too, is that the number of trails and the mileage far exceeded the number of active volunteers. So I think it's probably a good opportunity as we have some more people coming on board to maybe we try to reinstitute it. But we make it clear that the steward, they don't have to, bring the saw out and clear stuff. They just have to let somebody know.
Mhm.
So that the responsibility is not necessarily, I mean, it could be all the physical labor if you want it to be, but that's not the goal. It's
I don't
something
think it
worth
should
looking
be.
at to see if we have enough people that we could, acquire reasonable mileage that we can walk with some regularity.
That might be good for scouts too. Another opportunity for them.
Hmm.
Definitely.
We can start by at least getting a list together to see what the scope looks like overall. I probably will email Bob ahead of time because knowing my luck, he already has a list. And I'll go through all the work and be like, oh, here, just use this.
Yeah, Jim Stein might have some info too, because he did some of the mapping work, or at least like collating, making sure the trails were on the maps. I haven't actually seen Jim Stein at one of our meetings in a while, so.
He is around. I see him check in on the Facebook group occasionally,
Yeah.
so he's still around.
He emailed
But
me some website updates too.
Hmm. Yeah, Bill, I have kind of forgotten what all I've done over the years, but I think I've written up, there's a write-up, a short write-up on most of the trails that I've put together. And I'd be glad to share that with you. And no doubt it needs updating. Should be revisited every once in a while because things change. But I'd be more than glad to send you what I put together over the years.
Yeah,
As a
that'd be
start-
great.
To start.
Send anything along. I think what I envision this matrix would look like is a kind of just a real quick view, the trail where it is, how the mileage, maybe, you want the land ownership, and then if there's any different trails in there that have different maintainers, you would want to call that out because that's probably the most important part is if you're walking the trail, you see something, who are you reporting it to? Or if you are a volunteer, are you cleaning it or is it really somebody else should, I think it would, help at least align the effort and reduce emails to Brian from me.
Feel free to give me a call too after you get info from Jim and Forrest and Bob. I can contribute. There's informal stewards for a lot of trails.
Right.
There's people I call who have come to me and said, if there's an issue on this trail and you need someone, and I've called them. If I say there's a lot of trash or, so I do have a list of people. And they're not official Trails Committee members, but they walk the trails regularly. They're also eyes, so I can call them up and say, hey, I heard that there's a mattress out there. Is there really a mattress out there? Or,
Yep, sounds good. So that would be it for me.
all right.
Okay, Bill, I'd be glad to share what I have, whether it's useful or not. Just need to get your email address, but it's probably on somebody's list. I probably have it already, actually.
It's on it's on Mia's emails from on the latest mails. You can pick it
right.
out of there, I think.
Yeah, he's in
Right.
the group one.
Yeah, I'll find it. Okay, item 4. Mountain bike equestrian trail runner updates. Any follow-ups on that? I know we discussed it a little bit last time.
I don't think we have anything new on those.
Okay.
Does Blackstone Valley mountain bike, do they still want to do the kiosk at Pisgah, or can I give it to a Eagle Scout if they call?
You can give it to an Eagle Scout at this point
Okay.
because that Blackside Valley NEMA chapter leadership is in transition right now.
Okay.
Hmm.
I just didn't want to step on any toes.
No,
This is-
the guy who is the president has stepped down, and they don't have a new president yet.
Oh, no.
And he was the one who was all about the outreach to get more involved. But we're not, we don't need to wait around for it.
Okay.
Okay, review minutes.
Wait, are we all done with all new business? Or can we do more new business?
Up to you.
Take a couple of minutes and read through those if you haven't already done it.
Do you have new business, Brian?
I do.
Oh,
Oh,
I
you
guess
goes
that's the
up.
next, I guess
picked-
that's the next item.
It
I
wasn't
picked up on
entirely
your
new
hint.
business is the next item, or new business? I thought we finished by
Well,
approving.
let's go according to the agenda and approve the,
Okay.
review and approve the minutes if we can.
Few minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Wait, I haven't finished reading it.
Well, I read them already and I moved to approve the minutes. So
Okay.
when y'all finished reading,
I guess we need a second if, or are we jumping the gun? We jumping the gun? here?
Brian's still reading for
Okay.
it. I just read them this afternoon, so.
Let me know if you want me to go to the second page.
Minutes look good to me.
Okay, is that a second?
I second.
Okay. I guess, do we go through one by one, Mia?
We do. We have to do roll call with the members.
Okay, I'll start. I approve. Let's see, Cheryl,
I approve.
Brian,
I approve.
Bill,
I approve.
do we have any other members here? Is that the extent of the members?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that probably brings us to updates and,
Did Brian want to do anything?
yeah,
'Cause I think mine is the last thing.
Well, which one is yours, Mia?
Updates
thing?
from staff.
updates.
Oh, okay.
And I was just going to update you on the accessible trail and the approvals from conservation.
Okay,
You should go ahead
So-
then.
Mia's already done that.
I'm all done. Yep.
Okay.
So, Brian, new business. It's not an item, but we'll make it an item.
Yeah. Watch, I had one quick question and then one new business. Mia, do you know how many voting members we are allowed to have on the committee?
Let me look on the website. I'm going to go on my cell phone because I don't want to slow the meeting down.
Just because, I've been, attempting to get more people involved, but previously it seemed like official membership was just sort of, it was like by default. If you showed up enough times, you became a member, which kind of works. I just want to make sure that anyone who is actually volunteering, if they want to have a say in the voting, that they do, but I don't know I don't know what the numbers are supposed to be.
I don't know either. I'll have to contact the town administrator's office. It's not listed. The members are listed on the website, but I have to find out what your structure is. As a subcommittee, I don't think you were ever officially created and you're not appointed by the Board of Selectmen, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I'll have to find out. And I know I did email them to remove John Karpuk
Yeah.
and add Bill, but it hasn't, I'm looking on the website, it hasn't been done yet. So I'll get that done. And I'll find out how many members.
Thanks. Bob said that his main concern was that the 2020 annual report was as complete as possible, which I know he was working on, and I'm unclear what we would be doing with that as in the meeting tonight.
Nothing, he can just submit it.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be voted on. If you guys wanted anything added, you could just ask him to put it in.
Okay.
It's just an update that goes in the town's annual report.
Gotcha. Well,
And some committees don't really put anything year to
Yeah.
year. They just say, this is who we are, this is what we do.
Gotcha. Well, I'm not sure if he's actually going to pop in or not.
Okay.
So I guess my new business is hunting on our trails. So I think it was early December, for those of you who are not on the Facebook page, we had all kinds of reports of hunting on the Stirrup Brook Trail and all kinds of questions about its legality and hunters leaving dead animals on the trail and people seeing and hearing hunting. And it brought up all kinds of questions about where's hunting legal, where is it not legal, and what was going on. And I discovered that I myself had not proper information, which I now have more information. But Mia, I'd love to hand this over to you because you actually are more familiar with the rules that you and I discussed quite a bit.
Yep.
And once again, this is just so that we're all discussing this as a lot of this was discussed online already, but I wanted to discuss it formally here in the meeting.
So the trails, the only information we have on hunting on the website previously was that hunting is allowed only on one town-owned parcel up in the middle of Mount Pisgah. There is a parcel that the Conservation Commission owns, and there's a conservation restriction on it that is held by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And as part of that restriction, they required that hunting would be permitted. That overlaps with state law. State law is that no hunting is allowed within 500 feet of a dwelling. And case law, how things have been prosecuted, has shaken out that dwellings are interpreted as trails, roads, houses, anywhere people dwell, not necessarily a home or a school. It's anywhere people are. I did speak with Bill Leiber. He's your chief of police. So Chief Leiber, really wanted to stress that Northborough is very urbanized. There's very few places that are more than 500 feet from where people are, and that a rifle bullet will often travel more than 500 feet. So there's not a lot of room for hunting in Northborough. I created a new web page, and I'm going to try to share it if my computer will let you. And it's called Hunting and Hiking. And it tries to explain a little bit better, because a lot of the questions on social media were, I thought hunting wasn't allowed. I thought there was just that one place on Pisgah. There's actually an adjacent parcel on Pisgah that's a wildlife management area owned by Fish and Wildlife. Hunting is allowed there. Much of the state land, there's a lot of flood management, wildlife management, flood control, water authority land that's controlled by DCR. Hunting is allowed on all of that. There's also private property. Hunting is allowed on any private property with written permission from the homeowner, from the property owner. And a lot of your trails crisscross over private land, town land, and state-owned land. So you have this mishmash of, and it is, someone had asked if we could create a map. We really can't, because, one private landowner may allow it and the next one may not. So we really don't know. But as far as it goes, I'm sharing a map right now that I think Eric Devine had created, and it shows the Stirrup Brook Trail with a 500-foot offset. And you can see there's not a lot of room, but that lateral piece of land along the aqueduct, that's owned by Gutierrez. They own land there, and they own land across the street, the new warehouse across the street. There's a wooded area behind that. The Gutierrez company, they do allow hunting. And I know that because I inspected the construction over more than a year, and I ran into hunters regularly. And it's just kind of, It's a private property and hunting is allowed, and it is overrun with deer. In my opinion, it's needed there. So you may see the biggest hotspot for hunting that I get calls about is they park along Bartlett Street and they use the Stirrup Brook Trail and the aqueduct to access Gutierrez land, and they hunt up in the Gutierrez land, and they'll drag the carcasses out through our trail system, which is not against the law. I'm going to try to get that website up.
So, Mia, just as a question though, right? If they can't even carry a firearm across the back end of Stirrup Brook because that's the school property.
If they go in and they take a right in the aqueduct, or they take a right into Gutierrez before they get to the school property, it's fine. But no, they're not allowed to carry a firearm on school property. There's no hunting allowed on school property. No firearms.
Gotcha. I think one of the issues is that one of the people in town who saw the hunting, I don't know if they called Mass Wildlife Police. I know they wound up at one occurrence calling Northborough Police, and there was some misinformation where it was not clear where the hunting was happening. And I believe someone from Northborough Police said, "Oh no, it's okay back there." But my understanding is that the nice distance map that Eric made up pretty clearly shows that there shouldn't be anything going on or adjacent to the trail itself. Everything would have to be way over in Gutierrez land.
Someone disemboweled a deer right on the trail, but it probably wasn't shot there. I have found shells there. I also found a hunting stand last year on the trail behind the high school on one of the cross-country trails. So there are people breaking the law, and we do have to stay on it. The Northborough Police don't have the staff to get out of their car and follow the trail. This is another reason why we need the ATV. Status of the ATV, Conservation Commission voted to buy one, and the town administrator's office has asked us to wait. So if you want an ATV, it's in your hands. He's my boss. I've been told not to process the payment at this time. It would be really useful for the police. The police are gonna maintain it, license it, insure it, use it to respond to people calls like that, specifically like that. The police were called. They went up Stirrup Brook. They found a hunter. He was on Gutierrez land. So, and he said he was aware. He was aware that school land was right there. He was aware of the boundaries. All the hunters I bumped into at Gutierrez, they returned to that spot year after year, and they were aware of it. Good hunters are aware of their boundaries. They use GPS. So, but there's always a couple bad seeds in everything. And if you have any questions, if you think there's a hunter on the trail that's hunting on the trail, this happens up on Pisgah sometimes, and it happens on the school grounds, call the police, and then afterwards report it to my office. Do not approach the hunter. Obviously, they're armed. They're not making good choices. And if they are hunting legally, there is a fine for interrupting a hunt, a legal hunt. It's hunter harassment.
I love the dog bark. Perfect timing.
Okay, are we approaching the end here? I just wanted to comment on something. My wife and I walked part of the Burroughs Trail the other day from Route 20 going toward Marlboro. And we're pleasantly surprised to find that field had been mowed, and mowing had extended well off the field into the brushy areas along the perimeter, and it looks really nice. I just wanted to comment on that. I assume the town did that. I was concerned about that field because if you let it go as it has for the last several years, it'll turn into woods, and it's nice to keep open fields if we can.
Was that you, Bill? Did you do the that's Old Farm Trail, right?
Yeah, that's on the Old Farm Trail and the Heitzma property. It's the first field that you encounter going.
Bill, did you cut that back?
No,
Did you say you took the brush mower out there?
no, I didn't do anything out there, no.
Bob did the edge of the trail to the woods. I don't know who actually did the field itself. I presume whoever owns the
Yeah, it looks like
farm
it's the
up
whole,
there.
someone did it with some major machinery, did the field as well as the perimeter.
Yeah,
Really cut back the brush. Looks nice.
Beautiful.
yeah, it's much better now.
Oh, good.
Anything else? Points of interest? Gripes? Do I have to call for a motion to adjourn, or how's that
Did-
work?
Did we address all of our guests? Did they come here for anything particular?
Oh, okay.
I'd feel terrible if someone attended for a reason and we didn't hear them out.
I just joined to see if I can help in some way. That's it. Brian,
I had an invite from Brian, so I figured I'd listen once again.
Craig, what trails do you walk the most?
Yeah, it's easier to say what don't I walk.
Okay,
I'm pretty familiar with everything in town.
okay. Because we try to pick, like, if you have a favorite spot that you walk weekly, you get on that list we were talking about earlier. You get on the list of people I find you and say, hey,
Yeah,
someone says it's trashy. Could you go out with a
I'm
friend?
during I have a virtual Appalachian Trail program I'm on, so I'm at like mile 250. So
Oh,
that's cool.
I'm going all over Northborough, just looking for places to add miles. But on a serious note, yeah, for the committee here, I am interested in a program like a trail steward or something like that. I think that's terrific. That's why I crossed paths with Brian before. Just see him blow down and trying to get stuff out of the way. Additionally, I'm pretty active with Troop 1 Boy Scouts here in town. Jeff, I'm guessing maybe you're Troop 101.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome. So, you got some contacts to a lot of the scouts this way. And I know a few prospective kids that'll be looking for projects. I know where to send them, Mia. I did have, Mia, the pleasure of meeting you about a year ago when my son was petitioning for an Eagle project. So
Okay, that looked familiar.
this is great stuff. So I really appreciate what the committee is doing. And I just wanted to listen in again and stay current.
Oh, good.
Anything else? Do I need to ask for a motion to adjourn, Mia?
Sure, we can do that. At
Okay.
8:01.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. All approve? Do I have to go through one by one?
We do.
We do. Okay, Cheryl, you seconded.
Yes, so I approve that we
Okay.
stop.
I approve. Brian,
Brian, I approve.
let's see, Bill,
I approve.
let's see, are there any other members I'm missing here? Mia, I don't know, you aren't really.
No, I don't get to vote.
Remember, are
I don't
you?
pay taxes here.
Okay, I guess it's unanimous. So, nice meeting, good meeting. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks
you.
for running
Thank
it.
you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for running it for us.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank
See you
you.
next month.